This time of the year, it's the activity to lead to the sale. So we're coming off of now the Q1 of the year, which is probably the most difficult time for any of us to sell. And the reason that I say that is the distractions are a lot and they're significant. And consumers do a great job of stalling us out and convincing us that they are not buyers right now. They could be buyers down the road. And the bottom line is, I want to make sure, sorry, my microphone is working, that we're delivering on what customers are looking for. And so this time of the year, now we're coming off of Q1 where they're really good at convincing us that they're not actually buying, or that they don't have any money, or that they're not making the decision until spring. Now we are in Q2, springtime of the year. It is time for all those shoppers that were telling us in January, February, and March that they're not buying, that they're waiting till the springtime, till the winter is over, till the salt's not being dumped in the roadway, and they're coming in. And the problem is they don't come in. And the problem is that you can't sell when you don't have anybody coming in. And the problem is bigger than that, that when you don't sell and you don't make a commission, you can't live the life of your dreams. You can't create a swanky vacation. You can't move into the big house. You can't put a pool in the backyard. You can't buy a bass boat to go fishing this summer. You can't do what you want to do. Therefore, you can't rely on those customers that said, I'm not buying right now, because as we talked about in the past, every shopper is a buyer. And I don't think average, ordinary salespeople ever really get that. And I'm so impressed that all of you are here right now and you continue to follow along with me here in the Auto Sales Academy private members Facebook group, the Auto Dealership Academy on YouTube and on LinkedIn, because you're really trying to do better for yourself. But at the same time, I'm covering so much information so quickly, and this is step number 2 of our manifesto. So I'm assuming that you watched step number 1, and that would have been last week's session, in order for you to be able to get here and see these activities that lead to the sale, because the activities are really quite simple. At the end of the day, it's about you creating a funnel for yourself. And I'm assuming that you have a pipeline of shoppers dripping into, or flowing, into your sales funnel. And the sales funnel has been widely abused, I would say, within every industry. The physical metaphor is absolutely fantastic, and it's wonderful that they came up with it, but most teachers and trainers that don't study the definition of the sales funnel don't even know what a funnel does. I mean, the only reason I pick funnel as the metaphor is it makes sense to me. In the wintertime, when I'm filling up my snowmobiles with gasoline, I use a great big funnel to pour the gas in so it doesn't spray all over the snowmobile, and I waste gasoline, and it damages the finish, and it makes the vinyl seat hard and stiff because gasoline is so detrimental to it. But that's where the gas tank is. And so I use a funnel to take all the fuel that's in the gas tank and pour it into the gas tank, or transfer it from the portable tank to the tank that is on the snowmobile so I can ride. I do the very same thing this time of the year when I'm filling the garden tractor with gasoline, when I'm filling my ATV or my dirt bike with gasoline to go riding, when I'm filling the boat when we're going to go out on the lake. Just about to go out on the lake this weekend because the ice is now off the lake. Today's going to be a gorgeous day, but I don't think I'll be able to get out of the office and get away to do so. Even though I'm self-employed and I'm in charge of the whole staff here, I don't think it sets a good message either. And there's way too much work to get these videos edited and up and available to all of you to help you sell 10, 20, 30 vehicles per month with predictable consistency. When you do so, your success, your story drives me, motivates me, and tells others that this system of 3 phases and 9 steps is what will accomplish what you would like to achieve. And that's to make a 6-figure income, a better than average income than everybody else out there. And you would do that by following the sales funnel, which I was sharing with you seconds ago. This is how I get to enjoy my boat, filling it up with gasoline, because you folks join the 6-figure income manifesto. Not just these private members groups. This is the community to introduce you to the teachings that go on. If you want to know more about the 6-figure income manifesto, happy to share the details with you. I won't try to sell you anything. Book a 15-minute call. I'll put the link down below in the comments. Book that call. 15 minutes could really change your life. Ask me any question at all that you want to know about. If you're struggling to sell just 10 automobiles a month, Just 10. I mean, that's the first step in order for you to create the life of your dreams, the career of your dreams. That's the first step. You've got to get to 10 sales, 121 vehicles per year delivered. I'm talking about just over 10 sales per month, right? It's easy to do, but without a system, it can become challenging. That means that your glory months are probably 10 or 11 or 12. Those are my minimum months. Those are the minimum months for Kelly, for Rebecca, for Chandler, for Jen, and the list goes on for Dominic. The list goes on and on for so many of these guys. We just had a high achiever who was in the program years ago, Dean, come back to the program, start doing the classes, revisiting the self-study, the online on-demand, because as a high achiever, he is now struggling. And it's amazing how that happens. There's no reason for it to happen, because with a system like the solar system, like the planets revolve around the sun, or like we have day and night, and it happens every single day, and it happens at the same time, predictably at the same time, right? As the Earth orbits and we get more sun or less sun during the winter months, if you're in the northern hemisphere, and vice versa if you're in the southern hemisphere. It's a system. It happens over and over again. And you can do this with regular consistency and predictability. I need to check one camera. Hang on, gang. Just need to make sure that everything is going. Yep, it's all okay. Sorry about that. We had a camera malfunction last week, so the YouTube gang got the Facebook video vertical version as opposed to getting the horizontal. So I just want to make sure that is carrying on. Assuming that you have a pipeline of customers flowing in, and we'll talk about that in a couple of classes from now and how you can fill your pipeline. The funnel are the activities that lead to the sale. And this is the reason why average ordinary automobile sales training has failed you, because they don't understand the funnel at all. Most average ordinary automobile trainers will talk about how your funnel is working. You funnel your customers into sales and all your customers. And so I will say to that trainer, like, which customer? And they go, what do you mean which customer? I said, the intentional or the unintentional customer? Well, you can't really have an unintentional customer. But I say, yeah, sure can. Your repeat buyers are not intentionally shopping, right? Your referrals are not intentionally shopping you. They may be intentionally shopping elsewhere, but because your client referred you, because your client knows that that person is in the market for an automobile, they are going to become intentional with you, but they are unintentionally ready to buy from you because they're shopping somewhere else. And that's what you need to get to become top of mind to sell 10, 20, 30 vehicles per month. Here's the thing. With your network and service department upgrades, this is the pipeline. This is where average ordinary automobile sales training is crap. And this is the reason why you don't like going to train and you don't like investing in it. And I will answer all of those questions for you. Just book a call with the Discovery. 15 minutes could really change your life. Be prepared with questions. Bring questions to me, because I'll ask you a couple, but I know this stuff inside and out. I'm living it on a daily basis. Our dealership has been paid off several times as a result of doing so. And that's why I love teaching it. I want to make sure you don't have to go through the struggle I went through, the struggle I've seen my sales guys go through, and the struggle that I see on a regular basis. So the first activity is how you bring them into your funnel. Every single shopper is a buyer, unquestionably. When they come in to speak to you, either on the phone or email or walk in, and they're intentional about buying, let's just worry about one kind of customer. When you meet them, you don't get a second chance at a great first impression. You realize that, right? When you say something silly, in fact, I'm going to go so far as to say something stupid like, hey, can I help you? When you don't go out and offer assistance to them within 1 to 3 minutes. Hey, look, you know what it's all about with email and e-leads, that you've got to respond in a very timely fashion, like we're talking within minutes and seconds. When you don't do the very same thing when they walk on the lot, you know this. And questionably, you know it from answering the phone. If you don't answer the phone within 4 rings, it goes to voicemail. You're going to miss them anyway. So if you don't meet and greet them on the dealership lot in a very timely fashion, you'll hear average ordinary automobile sales trainers say, let them land. You'll hear veterans say, let them land. Like they're not serious. They're just wandering around. They're looking around. If they're doing this, if they're looking around, they keep looking up at the showroom, and they're looking around, they keep looking over their shoulder at the showroom. They're looking around, they keep looking. You're done. So you go out with your silly, stupid greeting of, can I help you? Well, guess what? They're not looking for milk, eggs, or meat. They're not looking for home stereos or surfboards or dirt bike riding boots. They're looking for an automobile to replace the automobile that they're currently driving. And because most people in Canada and the United States, and that's the only audience that I currently have here, are really quite nice people, North American people, that they will greet you, even though your greeting is horrible and terrible, they'll greet you with a nice greeting that they're just looking around, they're just shopping, they're not really interested in buying, but it may be time at some point this year or this spring or even possibly this month, if the deal was really super and amazing and fantastic and I just couldn't turn it down, for me to buy. But at this point in time, we're doing some research, we're kicking tires, we're knocking around, and nothing could be further from the truth. Because you have the uncanny ability to talk people into payments that they can't afford, and yet they're in here talking to you right now. So watch what your welcome says. Yeah, I know, you're the one saying it. But if you start the brain before engaging the mouth, and if you've completed that action, then when you say, "Can I help you?" watch what your welcome says. Because it could be useless. Greet them with something considerably better, like, "What did you come in to see and drive today?" Or are you coming in on our private sale? Or are you coming in on our brand new model that we just released? Anything along those lines is going to help them arrive at the second activity. The second activity being your counsel and qualifying session. Now, you're not actually going to qualify the buyer in the sense that you don't really know whether they can buy or not. You don't really know whether they're serious or not. You don't really know whether they can get approved for their loan or not. But all those questions are kind of important for you to get to the bottom of, right? You can't ask them just the way they come across and in the normal dialogue that they are. You need to create a better dialogue. And so, number one, you want to suggest something. You want to say something that piques interest, right? You've probably been told to get their name, their address, their phone number. Is the dealership close to where they work? Is it close to home? What's a telephone number that they can text on? What is their email address? All of which doesn't create any interest, does it? So right out of the gate, Average Ordinary Automobile Sales Training teaches you to do something called cognitive dissonance, which means you actually push your customer away. And because the welcome was bad to start with, the customer takes that as an insult. And that, albeit that they stay with you because people are nice in North America, they're not very happy inside and they're not very impressed with you. So while you're counseling qualifying, you've been told that you must do this in order to know that you're on the right vehicle and that you're going to sell one. You could get a customer that goes through the product walk around, the demonstration drive, the trade appraisal, and get to the purchase consultation, get your best price, and then leave by saying something that you can't overcome, a terrific objection, all because in the very beginning, the activities that lead to the sale that you're doing are not good. In process, they're fine. If you've been told that we've got a process, if you've been told we got a procedure, that's perfectly fine. Then replace the procedure and process with what I call activities, because that's exactly what you're doing. A welcome is not a process, it's an activity. An interview, a counsel and qualifying session is an activity. It's something that you do. It's not a process. It's not a procedure. Line them all up, and yes, we can form a procedure out of it. But the problem with procedure is that it creates rigidity. And when you act rigid and robotic and you can only do things a certain way, then the customer feels like you're treating them like every other. And how do you make a friend? How do you bring someone into your family of customers if they don't feel warm and fuzzy, if they don't like the way and what you're presenting? So with your counsel qualifying session, all you're going to simply do is find out what they're interested in. You want to get their contact information. And so at the contact information, in order to get them interested, you got to share with them the reason why you need the contact information. Now, this time of the year, the manufacturer will bring out an incentive with no warning at all, and I want to reach out to you before it hits advertising. That's a great incentive, right? That's a reason for an exchange of information, for them to give you their email, that they're extremely concerned that they wind up on some junk email list and they're bombarded with a whole bunch of messages that they don't want to get. And then you want to tell them about the new vehicle. And here's the most important one in the entire bunch. This is the one that blows me away. Average ordinary automobile salespeople. When I just go into a dealership, one of my clients, to go and visit with them and do what I call a pat and chat day and a live walk in and maybe even do a sales meeting. And in many cases, I'm there and specifically with a task to teach a seminar. And that I see that the trade appraisal is not being done properly. And by being done properly, in order for your used car manager to be able, in order for your new car or used car manager or general sales manager to calculate payments, they're going to need to know whether the trade-in is cleared. Are there any monies that are still owing on? Is there a lien still outstanding on the vehicle? And if there is a lien on the vehicle, then the manager is going to have to pay out that lien so that the title or the registration can be transferred over to us so we can legally turn around and sell it to someone else, so that there isn't another lien holder expecting to be paid when another loan is assigned against that vehicle as collateral for that person and a promissory note that they will pay for this vehicle because they don't have the cash up front, but they can pay per month. When I walk into a deal, I'm astounded by the number of salespeople that walk up to the desk. And if you're a manager watching this, shame on you for not asking, making sure that the trade amount and the monthly payment is there. Because here's the thing. You just discovered what the customer's budget is, didn't you? When you asked, are there any monies owing on the vehicle? How many more months left? What's the payment? And the customer says, why do you need all this information? Because I'll just multiply your payment by the number of payments. And now I know how much you owe. And when we take it in on trade, we'll know whether you're break even, in equity, or if there's a little bit of negative equity that we need to absorb. And you can say we. It doesn't mean that we're going to pay. It may mean that you're going to build the new monthly payments, absorbing that negative equity so that the bank will clear off the lien on that vehicle. And this individual has just one payment on the new vehicle that they're currently driving. If you don't find out what their budget is, then you could go through the next 3 hours of presenting an automobile and driving them out on the roadway, wasting your time. When you get to the purchase consultation, that activity of negotiate and close, and they go, this is way too much money. I can't afford that at all. I'm getting ahead of myself. The next activity is the walk around. Now, just don't do a product walk around. Certainly don't do it anything like the way your manufacturer has shown you what their walk around is. And definitely not do it anything like you may have seen at the auto shows that went right across the country throughout Q1 when they all arrive in the wintertime. Don't do anything like that. That's not what the customer wants. The zero moment of truth, the ZMOT study from Google tells us that customers spend 6 months shopping, that they'll visit 180 web pages and 97 different websites. I know if we get 27 clicks on our pictures of the vehicles on our lot, that vehicle will sell in 72 hours. That vehicle will sell in 3 days if it gets more than 27 impressions being out there on the internet. And that's because customers are doing all the research, preparing themselves as best they possibly can, so that when they get in a dealership, they don't look silly. They know what they're talking about. They know what they want. That means that your walk-around presentation is not an hour long. Now, that also means that you have to be prepared for a 60-minute walk-around presentation because no two customers are the same. Some customers won't allow you to even do 40 minutes, but some customers want a 40-minute presentation. Some customers want a 15-minute presentation, and some customers don't want one at all. And we call it the 3-minute drill. But here's the point. If you don't do some kind of a walk-around presentation, if you don't do some kind of a product presentation, and test me on this, go to Home Depot to buy a cordless chainsaw. This is top of mind for me right now because we just came through the ice storm a couple of weeks ago and everybody's buying chainsaws and pole saws and chippers because of all the debris that is still in their backyard or on their front yard or at their neighbor's yard. And for me, we had 2 trees fall on our boathouse from the neighbor's property, and I had to go out and help him clear those out of the way, and I had to pay for one tree to be taken down. He paid for the other one. It's not his fault. The trees were on his side. It's just this was an extenuating circumstance and it didn't damage the boathouse a whole lot. And I certainly didn't want it to do any more damage. Anyhow, the point is, go to one of those stores and buy a chainsaw and see what the presentation is like. Some of those electric chainsaws can be as much as a gas-powered one. They're not toys, but that's absolutely true. And then that is sometimes the impression. Smaller the saw, more toy-like it is. That's not the case. We're talking about a moving chainsaw going very, very fast. Cut wood in 2 seconds flat. Imagine what it would do to your hand, your arm, your leg. I understand the emergency rooms have been full of... Go to Best Buy. Go to the telephone kiosk at Costco. And talk to somebody about purchasing a new phone, the new iPhone 16. You'll get some kind of a product presentation. And the reason being is that you need it to take them from, you need to have that presentation on the chainsaw or the phone to go from what your old phone is not doing, what your handsaw can't do, can't cut that tree that you can't wrap your arms around. That's why you need a chainsaw. You need a presentation of what your handsaw can't do to what the chainsaw, the new phone, is capable of doing. And with automobiles, there's so much to talk about, but you need to understand the customer that you're dealing with. And so in the first step of the manifesto, we talk extensively about buyer behavior and just identifying by the clothes they're wearing, the cadence of speech, and the automobile that they drove in will speak volumes about what your selective walk-around presentation is going to be. And then you got to do the demo drive. You got to take them out on the roadway. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to? I mean, how hard is it for you to sit in the passenger seat and just tell them to turn left, turn right? Well, turning left is a little bit of a risk unless it is a dedicated left-hand turn lane or it's an advanced green light. I wouldn't encourage you to do left-hand turns just because it puts you in the passenger seat in that most perilous situation where the driver is sitting over here and protected when they're making that left-hand turn. You want to do as many right-hand turns as you possibly can so that the driver is in the exposed section because they're the one that's in control of the automobile, right? Why wouldn't you want to get out on the roadway and drive along with them and look at the scenery? And as the days get longer and the weather gets nicer, it's more enjoyable to be outside and watching children play in the play yard and driving past the golf course because your driving route is scenic. You watch the boats coming into the harbor because you live on a waterway and the driving route that you take is scenic. Maybe there's a beach and people are playing beach volleyball. You know, fit bronzed bodies, male and female, playing volleyball is a nice way to pass the day while selling an automobile. I don't say you stop and you watch the game, but the customer could be thinking the same thing too, right? They're making the second greatest financial decision of their life. And here they are driving along, going past the golf course, driving past the beach. It's a whole lot more exciting than trying to envision what this vehicle is going to drive like on the highway, on the commute to the job that they don't love, to earn the money that they need to be able to pay for this vehicle that isn't going to be really, really great because it costs so much money. It's going to take so long for them to pay for it at a job and a location and a commute that they don't thoroughly enjoy. We want to take them out of all of that and demonstrate to them with a magnificent story about how enjoyable it is to own this vehicle, especially when they don't really enjoy their job. Especially when they really don't want to get there. By getting in our vehicle with massage seats and ventilated air-conditioned seats and Blue Cruise or Super Cruise or any self-driving, autonomous driving vehicle is going to be so relaxing. Listening to an 8, 10, 12, 13, 17 speaker sound system that's concert-like. It's going to be so amazing. That's what you're creating. That's what the customer is after and looking for. Now, from the demonstration drive, now we've got the trade appraisal. Customer cannot purchase the vehicle unless they know that you will take the vehicle in on trade. Some trades we don't want to take. Certainly if the customer misrepresented the vehicle when we asked them, has it ever been in an accident? And then maybe you notice that there's some overspray. The used car buyer, the used car manager is definitely going to notice if they're worth their salt at all at the job that they're doing. Certainly if they work for me, I definitely want to know that they can identify the vehicle's been in an accident. Then we do a car proof or a Carfax and we find out, whoa, it's been in a significant accident. The client's still adamant that there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe the used car buyer, and then your dealer doesn't want to take it in. Maybe they feel that, no, this is misrepresented and we're further ahead just keeping the new one or the pre-owned and finding another buyer for it, because buyers are like street cars. There's always another one coming around the corner. That being said, let's assume that you got a normal buyer, they've represented the vehicle well, and you've got the trade appraisal. Average ordinary automobile salespeople screw this up in the funnel. Notice where we are in the funnel. We're at the squeeze point. They've done everything great to here, and it's a fault of training. It's not your fault. Average ordinary automobile trainers don't know how to do a trade appraisal. Never probably were successful at it. Those that can't do, teach. I know, I hate that label. I'm confronted with it on a regular basis. Keep in mind, I was an automobile dealer, a new car franchise dealer. I still am a franchise dealer to this day. And I was national sales training manager for Mercedes-Benz, Honda, Acura, Chrysler, Ford, and contractor to General Motors. So I've lived it. I know what you're going through. The reason why we screw up the trade appraisal is that we don't have the math to demonstrate to the client what that vehicle is worth. Tricky talk tracks and convincing someone that we're giving them all the money they're ever going to get for their vehicle may be true. But when you can demonstrate through math and worksheets, and we have several worksheets where the amount is not enough, the price is too high, I will sell it myself privately. We take you through that and demonstrate to the client that what we're giving them on trade is equal to, maybe slightly less than equal to, or could be even greater than or equal to. Why wouldn't they want to make that decision to go with our automobile? When we show them through math. Look, when you get an objection from a customer, there are only two problems with that objection. Number one, that objection is that, I want to keep an eye on the time here to make sure I'm not going overtime and taking too much of your time away from the day. When you get an objection, it can be categorized in two capacities. It can be solved in two capacities. Either it's a math problem or it is a drama issue. One or two. Now, when it comes to negotiation and the price is too much, that's a drama. You have to react like if they shoot you an offer, you have to react. You have to act it out. You have to make it sound like and look like there's no possible way in a million years you could get that, because the words aren't enough. On the other side of the equation, when it's numbers that we're working with, such as automobiles, you can have drama and math rolled into one, but the math will prove the problem and solve the problem. That's the secret to it. It's the reason why I call my system biology. I just don't call it a training program. If you want to know more about it, book a call with me. I'll put the link down below. Now, once we've done the trade appraisal, we're into the purchase consultation. And the purchase consultation is long. This is the neck of the funnel. Notice how we've funneled the client's decisions all the way down to this is how you go about it. And so do you see any reason why you wouldn't be approved for our most preferred rate, our most preferred term, and our most preferred advertisement? When would you like to be delivered? Today, tomorrow, or the next day? And this is the reason why the neck is so long, because the choices here all wind up at the very same place, the delivery. Down here at the bottom. We're not asking the customer if they want it. We're asking the customer if they can get it. We're asking them when they would like to have it. And they envision themselves and see themselves owning and driving. All of which, I'll button this whole thing up with the 8 activities that surround the whole thing. This is unsold traffic and your sold traffic. Making sure that you're always following up, you're always top of mind. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy here on Facebook, the Auto Dealership Academy on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Again, if you want to know more about this stuff, if you want to break through 10 units and get to 15, and if you think 15 is just absolutely a pipe dream, that's ridiculous, Bill, that's off the mark, then don't bother booking a call. Just continue doing what you're doing. Don't expect to do any more. And if you hopefully hit 15, good for you. I'm talking about predictable consistency. If you want to get to predictable consistency and you're ready to do whatever it takes in order for you to be able to get there, I've got the system which absolutely unquestionably warranties that you will get there. Doesn't guarantee. We can't guarantee anything more than death and taxes. I warranty this system for you. I will hold your hand if you don't get the results that you say you would like to have. And that doesn't mean that I warranty you to get to 10 automobiles. If you want to get to 20, I'll hold your hand and make sure you get to 20. If you want to get to 30, I'll hold your hand and make sure you get to 30. It doesn't matter what brand you're with. It doesn't matter what region you're in. It all matters about the pipeline. And we have the system to fill a pipeline for you of intentional and unintentional buyers that drip into your sales funnel, and you do not screw one opportunity up. So you wind up, look, to sell 20 automobiles only requires 40 leads. That's a bad case scenario in my opinion. 40 leads. That means you're closing at 1 and 2. Half of the people that you will talk to will buy. My dynamite, my platinum students, the ones on the coaching platform that I coach on a regular basis, those close at less than 1 to 2, like 1 to 1.3. That means a third of the people, just out of 4 people that walk in to talk to them, they sell all 4 people. You need to get to 10 people for them to now not to be able to sell everybody at 1 to 1.3. At 1 to 1.2, at 10 people, they're selling 5. At 1 to 1.3, they're selling 7. 7 out of 10. Now, to get to 20 sales, how many people would you have to talk to? Definitely not 40. And this is the reason why I can say with predictable consistency, you can earn a 6-figure income selling 10, 20, and 30 vehicles per month. All you need to do right now, all that has to happen, and I can't believe that more of you don't do this. I'm absolutely shocked. Maybe it's because of timing. Maybe you're just like your customers, that you spent a lot of money at Christmas time and you just don't have the money to invest, and so you don't want to waste my time, and I respect you for that. Thank you. But on the other side of the equation, how long are you going to wait? You're going to wait till you do have the money? What's going to come along? What is going to happen? I know this much. When we prosper, we party. So as you go into Q2 and we're on fire and customers are coming in and you're selling automobiles, you won't think about buying training. You won't think about joining my system because you're already doing it. You're selling 12 a month. This is fantastic. You maybe struggle to do 4 in January, 3 or 4 in February, 6 in March, or possibly 8. When we prosper, we party. When we fail, when we struggle, we ponder. When we prosper, we party. When we struggle, we ponder. And so I think it would be absolutely ridiculous of you not to take advantage of the free call. I promise I won't try to sell you something. You make sure you tell me that. You say, whatever you do, Bill, just tell me what I need to do to sell 10, 20, 30 vehicles per month, but I don't want to buy anything at this point in time. I get that. It's going to take a little bit of relationship. The reason why I do this free training, giving away some of my very best stuff, is to demonstrate to you, you can do this. You can do this. Let me help you reach your maximum potential. Book a call. 15 minutes could change your life. And then you decide that when I struggle and I ponder and I don't have a system, then I will fail. But if on the other side of the equation, you're perfectly happy with what you've got, you think it'd be a waste of time for us to get together and chat, I respect your decision. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your own time. It's the one resource that we can't get back. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. And next week, I'll be talking about presentation secrets that really close customers quickly. Most importantly, first visit. Let's not let customers go home and think about it and reel them in as a B-back. It doesn't matter. We got a 73, 74% chance of closing them on a B-back. The problem is you let them go. You lost control. Let's just do what they plan to do right now. Every shopper is a buyer. They've gone through that process, thinking, talking, research. They're going through the funnel. What's not working in the funnel? And I'll share with you. It's right here. It's right here in the product presentation and the demonstration. You can turn a customer around that you've pissed off and that you've offended with a great product because they're buying the product from you, but they're buying the product. They'd like to know and trust that you are the salesperson they should deal with, but they really, really want the product. And the proof comes from the NAD. 53% of shoppers said they purchased an automobile from a salesperson that they did not like. So look for that product presentation secrets next week.